did that work? Okay.
Hi, my name is Joseph Rains.
Chris Jansen.
Courtney Cummings.
Steven Fogamomi.
Wait, name first? There we go. Simeon Lavelle.
What recognize the good means to me is acknowledging the little things that my coworkers do for me, whether it be answering questions for me whenever I stand up over my desk and say, hey, how does this work?
Recognize the good started much earlier for me at a client of Awardco's. Where that employer became the Awardco client, the vision came to life for me that this is a tool to be more proactive in recognizing the good as opposed to recognize it when someone's already 1 foot out the door.
I got a recognition from one of my directors, Trent. And it was about an on-site I had done. And for me, I just love the idea of building a culture of gratitude just because I saw what a simple, couple lines of a shout out did for my confidence and my feelings on the sales floor.
I think, it speaks for itself when you say recognize the good. Every day at Awardco, you can recognize the good, you can recognize the good in someone else, and you use the platform to do that, which is kind of a cool little way and a cool twist about it that I like.
Recognize the good is seeing the good things that people are doing around you, not just for you, but for the company and for each other. But it also encourages other people and shows them that people are looking out and seeing the things that they're doing to help each other.
I think there is a lot of opportunities to recognize the bad, you could say. But for me, recognize the good is kind of focusing more on the wins, lifting each other up, and kind of being that morale boost.
This world is kind of hard, right? I mean, all of my family members, all my friends, we all struggle with mental health, with challenges, with struggles. Being able to go out of your way to tell someone how much they mean to you, that they're doing a good job, I think does wonders on the human condition.
I think for me, recognizing the good means looking for the little things and the good things people are doing on a daily basis. So I feel like when you're looking for the good things is when you're really going to see the good things.
Sharing your gratitude or, recognizing the good in others kind of creates a snowball effect. Even if I'm not the recipient, if I'm seeing that and I'm witnessing that and I'm feeling that, I'm more likely to go recognize the good in others as well.
Just looking for the things that are positive, and even within the negativity and even in the hard, looking for what is happening in those moments that are teaching us something or helping us become something, and then helping others along that path to feel like they can do it themselves.
One of my senior managers, Isaiah, so my supervisor, and so on, he sent me a recognition saying, I know we haven't had the opportunity to work together directly quite yet, but the impact that you've already made has been astounding, and so being able to see that my work is being noticed through the chain of leadership, even if we're not working directly with them, was really just very affirming for me.
I think here at Awardco, it's making the connections, like real, genuine connections with other people. You understand where they're coming from, where they've been, their background. And once you have all of those pieces, I think, of the puzzle, it's a lot easier to work with and for people.
For me, it definitely means seeing the invisible, recognizing the small things that other people don't see. Oftentimes when we go to work as human beings, we're normally focused on getting ahead, trying to do our best to climb the ladder or to progress. And we oftentimes forget that it's the little things or the invisible things that help us get there, people. So it's really good for us, especially here at Awardco, to recognize that, to see the small steps everyone takes in order to help us grow. Because eventually when we turn and look back, we're able to see that we didn't do it alone, but we had helping hands all along the way.
Welcome to Awardco Culture Quarterly. I love starting off with this video. We believe in recognizing the good, and I love hearing what this means to our employees. A few weeks ago, we held our second annual Recognize Summit here at Awardco's headquarters. This exclusive event brought together some of the best minds in the employee recognition space, and we left feeling so energized. I know you all would have loved to be in attendance, so we're bringing the best of that event to you. In the next hour, we're gonna share some of our product roadmap for 2024, hear from our product team on new features in the platform, listen to thought leadership from industry leaders, and hear from a panel of customers highlighting their recent wins with Awardco. As you're watching today, think about those you know who could use Awardco. Our Pay It Forward referral program has paid out thousands of dollars in personal incentives and Awardco discounts since August. When you refer someone to Awardco, you and your referral gets points. But that's not all. Both of your companies receive your choice of discounts or charitable donations in your name. Just email referrals@awardco.com to get started. And there's no better time than the holidays to share the love. Now, we know from past ACQs that one of your favorite things is to hear what is happening with our product. So let's start there and dive into what you can expect to see in 2024.
The last thing I'm going to show you, we released internally last week. I'll say that again, released internally. It's not live just yet, but that is APay. What is APay, Josh? I hear everyone asking. But APay essentially provides your employees a way for them to spend their points off platform. APay is a digital debit card that operates as an award option that you can add to any award network. One of the great things we see APay being used as is a lifestyle spending account benefit for your employees. For example, streaming services. Say that you have an employee base who loves their movies and TV. You can load up APay for them, and then they can go and pay for their subscriptions that month. You know, they can pay for their Paramount Plus or their Netflix, right? Another way we see this being used is health and wellness LSA. Again, you can load up their APay and they can use that digital debit card to pay for their gym membership or pay for their mental health app, or even if they're working remote, pay for equipment for their home gym. And this is kind of where it gets a bit exciting, right? Is it could replace the reimbursements in that when you load that up and they buy it, it takes out that whole process of them spending their own money and then you having to do forms and reimburse them for that home gym equipment, right? It's exciting stuff. Like I said, it's going to be exciting for the employees, but even on your side as admins, it's going to be a great experience. It will give you the ability to control spend, so you'll be able to control what can be spent on, what can't be spent on, things like that. You'll be able to see more details later, but it is going to be an exciting thing. But that said, I'll stop waffling my chops, right? Because you're asking, Josh, when can I get this? When can I get this APay, right? Well, like I said, currently we're testing this internally. All the employees here at Awardco have been using it for about the past week. I've used it myself, and it is really fun. It's really exciting, really versatile. But not long after, we're going to have a full release in Q1 of 2024, so you won't have to wait too long to offer this to your employees. But other than that, I hope you all have a great day at the Recognize Summit here today, and thank you for having me.
So now there's one more thing that I get to share, and this is a project that I am very, very, very passionate and excited about. If you've heard Steve talk about Awardco, you've heard him say that Awardco is where the good lives. It's where employees and managers can recognize each other. But historically, there's been a group that hasn't been invited to the party, and that has been our customers. Employees interact with customers daily. And up until now, Madeline will tell you at Children's Hospital, it's a very manual process to bring in these customer experiences and bring them into Awardco. But we are working on a project called Externally Sourced Recognitions, where it will allow the customers to share the good, and we'll bring it right into the Awardco platform. So let me walk you through how it works right now. We have a thanks page. This page is publicly available, and it can live on a website. You can directly link to it. You can print it off on a QR code. And customers are able to come here and enter a name of an employee that they interacted with. With security in mind, you can choose between either having the customer enter the name manually, or they can choose the name from a drop-down list. They're then able to share the good, to share the positive experience that they had with this employee, and then submit. It's that simple on their end. Then for the admin side, after it gets submitted, you're able to confirm the recipient. If there was multiple employees who maybe helped with this interaction, you can add them as well. You're then able to edit the text of these recognitions. If you just want to highlight a part of it, or if there's some typos, also HIPAA compliance. Then, if this is something that they really truly went above and beyond, you can attach points. And you can let the employee know this is definitely something you should continue doing. Then you have the choice to either decline or send it to the feed. When you send these recognitions to the feed, they will honor your company's privacy feed settings, and it will directly email the employee, and they'll be able to view this recognition in the feed from a happy customer right alongside nice comments from their managers and peers. So we are so grateful for all of you coming out here for 2 days, and we are so excited to hear your stories. And please help us open the floodgates of recognition to not just employees and managers, but to the whole world. Thank you.
I'm very excited to announce that coming the first half of 2024, we will be releasing a comprehensive giving feature to completely level up corporate giving. Let me go into some details of what this means. We'll be adding over 1.7 million charities in the platform. These are vetted 501c3 organizations that are global. Just like with all of our redemption offerings, you can pick what you want to show and you can omit what you don't want to show. We give you that high level of configurability. We will be providing company matching and engagement tools. 84% of donors say they're more likely to donate when a match is involved. And so we want to give you the tools that you need to be able to engage with that company matching. We're going to give you the ability to round up. If something is 30 points in the platform and you have 32 points, and you want those extra 2 points to go to charity, we're going to give you the ability as an organization to specify which charities that roundup can go to if the employee wants to round up to them. You're going to have the ability to take immediate action in response to social and humanitarian emergencies. Callie talked about the devastation that happened in Maui. If you're currently leveraging our homepage architecture, the new stuff today, you'll be able to deploy a matching widget within minutes to work towards your company's social responsibility initiatives. So that is a powerful tool to be able to deploy quickly and move quickly. And then lastly, all of this is 100% tax deductible. We'll have the information in the platform that we can share with your employees so they can have the proper record keeping that they need. Once again, we are really excited about corporate giving and what we're going to be doing with that. It's going to really help level up the game. No other platform when it comes to marketplace recognition and giving has combined all three of these in such a creative way.
I absolutely love our product and our team. Because for so long, I would use Awardco and I'd just buy things on Amazon, but now Awardco is on my phone. I can go to a restaurant and I can pay with Awardco with the new APay card, and that is a cool experience. The second thing I absolutely love is external recognitions, because we can allow customers on the outside experience and recognize our employees. And how many times have you had a great experience with a brand, or you're at a restaurant and you want to say something good? Well, you can, and you can know through Awardco that that recognition is going to get back to that person and driving the right behavior so they do it again. Now I'd like to introduce our next segment, where we'll hear from Chester Elton and Adrian Gostick, two impactful thought leaders in employee recognition and engagement. For the last 20 years, Chester and Adrian have helped organizations like American Express, Lockheed Martin, and Microsoft with their culture, leadership development, and employee engagement.
We get to present to a lot of different organizations and associations and companies, literally all over the world. And it's interesting, what we found when we studied great cultures and leaders and so on, is that there was a common thread to all those that were exceptional. And that common thread was gratitude, recognition, appreciation. My voice was heard. I did good work. It was noticed. It was celebrated. Now, we're not going to go through everything with you here this afternoon. We picked a couple of elements that we think will be really important for you. And we will talk about companies and industries that have nothing to do with what you do. Don't worry about that. Think, what is the principle? How do I take it back to my team? Well, we studied the Hard Rock Cafe. It was really fun. So I used to work in New York City, in Manhattan. And the old Hard Rock Cafe was on 57th between 9th and 10th. And so one day, we were just a lot of pressure in New York, just let's decompress, let's go to the Hard Rock. So we go in and they actually put us this time in the upper balcony. And in the lower bowl were a bunch of university students. And they were celebrating whatever, like exams were over, spring break, I can't remember exactly what. And one of the college kids jumped up on his table and started to dance. So as an apostle of appreciation, I kind of want to divine the room, and I think I want to talk to you, sister. Oh, no. Your name is?
Christy.
Christy. What would you expect the wait staff at most restaurants to do when somebody starts dancing on the table?
Probably clear the table of any dishes, glass, and then kindly escort you down off the table.
And out of the restaurant?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. What do you think happened at the Hard Rock Cafe?
Maybe they got on the table and danced with them.
That's exactly what happened. The waitress started to cheer and clap, and she jumped up on his table and started to dance with him. Now, do you think he will ever forget that? That's, not appropriate at most restaurants, absolutely appropriate at the Hard Rock Cafe because of the Hard Rock culture. You see, at the Hard Rock Cafe, they have a philosophy that there's a little bit of rock star in everybody. Now, do you treat your customers differently when you look at them as rock stars as opposed to just hungry? I would submit that you do. And that's culture.
What other leadership trait do we all know, like employee engagement, and yet hasn't really moved in 40 years? In many cases, it's declining around the world. You've all seen the scary Gallup statistics on how low engagement is. Well, what we found in our research as we wrote this book was that there are accelerators of engagement, like being enabled, which is bigger than empowerment. Enable means I'm supported, I have the right tools and equipment, I have the right training, I am enabled. We found that was an accelerator of engagement. Also being energized. In many of the businesses that we heard about earlier, you're working in very demanding, stressful businesses. How do you keep your people energized? That's what we'll talk about here for a moment. Let me just kind of blow these up for just a second. So the first that I think you could all define, employee engagement means I'm attached to the organization. I'm willing to give an extra effort, take on an extra project, do an extra assignment. What we find is enablement is the accelerator of engagement. So in other words, if I'm engaged but not enabled, it's a little like a hamster spinning on a wheel. I've got nowhere to go. If you enable me, though, I'm able to run. And that means I feel supported. But look at what happens when we have companies with high levels of engaged, enabled, and energized people. Almost 3 times more profitable than low engagement and twice as profitable almost than companies with just high engagement. You can see there's something happening here, an accelerator that is moving an organization forward. Now, so what does it mean to be engaged at work? Let's just give you this. This is what we found. We had 23 different countries in the survey, and no matter where you are in the world, the top driver was the same. To feel engaged as an employee, I need to feel like I have the opportunity to do my best work every day, and I have the opportunity to grow and develop, and somebody cares about my well-being. Who's that person? The leader, yeah. My manager, my boss, actually cares about me as an individual. Now, the second highest driver was trust, that I trust this organization, but also I feel trusted. I feel like somebody trusts me around here. And third driver was pride in the organization. It's the third highest driver of engagement around the world. You think of all the things that could be driving people like teamwork or communication, etc. No. It's do I feel proud of what we are doing here in my organization? So then we had these and we said, well, how do we drive these drivers? So this is where we went further back into our data. We have about 100 questions we asked people with all these hundreds of thousands of surveys we've done. To drive pride, you have to feel something we call alignment. It's a series of questions, things like, I know what matters most around here. I believe our values are in alignment with my personal values, those types of things. What we found, though, in less than half of organizations, when you ask people what matters most, they kind of go, everything matters the most around here. And when everything matters the most, nothing matters the most. So that's unfortunate. So are you creating alignment? Now, we're going to get to recognition in just a moment, because how do you help people understand what matters the most? Is you recognize the things that matter the most. Now, here's the number one driver of trust was communication. We heard this over and over in our studies. My boss comes in at 9, she closes the door, don't see her through the rest of the day. I don't know what's going on. In those high engagement, high trust environments we studied, managers spend about 75% of their time on average working with their people, out with them, not in meetings, not working with clients, but working with their people, helping reduce stress. Now, here's where it comes to why we're here today. What's the number one driver? It's gratitude, it's recognition. That's what makes people feel like they have the opportunity to do their best work because I'm being recognized for it. And somebody cares about me because I'm being recognized on a regular basis. We found it was not only the number one driver of opportunity and well-being, it was the number two driver of pride, the number four driver of trust. It just raised all ships in the harbor the more that we were grateful. And it's, as you know, it's one of those low-hanging fruit that when we go in and we work with an organization to raise their engagement scores, this is one of the first things we put in place because it's easy and it doesn't cost a lot to get started, et cetera.
We took a deep dive onto anxiety in the workplace, and here are the numbers. If you're going to take a screenshot, this is a good one, by the way, is that pre-pandemic, about 18% of workers were living with some kind of anxiety disorder. So about 1 in 5, right? So everybody gets anxious, and sometimes it's a good thing to be a little anxious, get your endorphins going, get you psyched up for the presentation or whatever. But an anxiety disorder is it keeps me from doing my job. Got it? So then look at this, by 2023, that jumped to 30% of employees overall had some kind of anxiety disorder. And look at this, 42% of people in their 20s. That's a really big number. That's a big number. And you talk about retention, 50% of millennials and 75% of Gen Z said that they have left a job due to mental health issues. They just leave. So we wanted to know, well, why? You see, Adrian and I are, kind of baby boomers and Gen X, and our generation, we don't talk about this kind of stuff, right? And people would come to us and say, look, I'm really anxious, I'm getting kind of, and we'd say, you know what? Just relax, man. Just calm down. Yeah, that Calm app, that Calm app's great. Yeah. Rub some dirt on it, get back in the game, And it's really interesting. We just say, let's calm down. We love this quote, never in the history of calming down has anyone ever calmed down by being told to calm down, right? You do that with your kids, calm down. I think the yelling helps, yeah. So what is the solution? Well, for a carrot here, just yell it out. What % of employees do you think feel safe talking to their immediate supervisor or manager about mental health? 0 is low. 5% is low. 15 is high. 10. We got a winner. 10%. Round of applause. Yeah. So flip that around. 90% of employees don't feel safe talking to their managers. Why? Why? Why is that not safe? Job security, because I'll be perceived as weak. Can't do the job. I told you this was going to be stressful. Now you're telling me you can't do it. And it's weird because anything else is fine, right? Like if I was out skiing and I broke my leg, like, oh, geez, take care of that, get some PT. Come back when you're ready. Somebody go, hey, I'm overwhelmed. I need a mental break. We go. And if you're the employee, it's like, I won't get the raise. I won't get the promotion. So we got to fix that. We got to fix that. So what is your role as a leader? Normalize the conversation, destigmatize it, and empathize. First and foremost, normalize. It's a normal human emotion. We all get anxious, right? Secondly, destigmatize it. Say, look, if 42% of your workers in their 20s showed up with a broken leg, you think you'd take a deep dive on that? Absolutely, right? So you say, look, it's not a problem. If you broke your leg, we'd address it. This is nothing worse than broken legs are bad. You get the idea, right? And it's so interesting that one of the ways that you can do that as a leader, and it's not easy, is if you share your story. Have you ever seen that happen with leaders? We had a really good friend, Nabila Extalaban. She was a chief human resource officer for Walmart. And she said, I'm a recovering workaholic. She said, I work for some of the biggest brands in the world, and I would work 90-hour weeks, and I would sacrifice everything for the job. And it cost me. It cost me my physical health, my mental health, it cost me my marriage. I don't want that to happen to you. A big group of Walmart employees. And as she took questions, one of the employees said, well, easy for you to say, Nabila. You're now the chief human resource officer at Walmart. Would you have gotten there if you hadn't made those sacrifices? Good question, eh? And she said, yes, I would have gotten here. It would have taken me longer. And knowing what I know now, I would make that trade.
Chester and Adrian, thank you, and I'm so grateful they shared their time and expertise with us. I hope you now have a few ideas on how you can improve your own work in 2024. Next up, we have one of my favorite parts of the Recognize Summit, hearing from you, our customers. we invited 4 Awardco admins from Adobe, Children's Nebraska, L3 Harris, and Beckman Coulter Diagnostics to share with us their knowledge and expertise.
As we get into this, how long have you been with Awardco, and what was your solution like for recognition before you came to Awardco?
Okay, I started working with Awardco in July of last year, went live in September.
And Adobe, as you have organizations globally, right? So is Awardco used throughout that? Or?
It is.
Oh,
yeah, we have a global implementation.
That's incredible. How hard was it to implement globally?
Not as hard as you think until we started talking payroll.
It sounds like we have some people out here that can relate with that, right? Yeah. Okay. And what was most difficult about that aspect of it?
Payroll, I think each country has its own rules and regulations and formats, and I see everyone nodding. I think you know what I'm talking about. It's just really difficult to ensure that you hit everything correctly because you just don't want to make any mistakes in that field.
Madeline, how long has Children's Nebraska been with Awardco, and what was your experience like moving from a previous vendor or solution to what you're doing now?
Yeah, so we launched on February 27th, so I also need to shout out Shanae because she was an incredible implementation manager and she really helped to really personalize for us. One thing that I encourage with people who are implementing is try to think of things that are fun. Like for example, I took videos across the hospital of things that are kind of inside jokes everywhere, and Shanae helped make them into GIFs, and then we added it to our content library. So when people signed in the first day, there was a picture of a helicopter taking off saying you saved the day, stuff like that. So we could really make it really unique to our hospital. And I would say previously what we did was we gave everyone Children's Hospital water bottles and sweatshirts. And so this was a common thing I was hearing from employees, that they were tired of having blankets and water bottles and things like that. And we know that people experience value and love in so many different ways. And so when we benchmarked different companies and presented it to the employees, the vast award network was really what caused our employees to want to choose Awardco, because they could really choose what was meaningful to them.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Abby, what about yourself? How long have you been with Awardco, and what was your experience like before?
I guess what prompted our transition to Awardco was the big merger between L3 and Harris, which now is L3 Harris.
When did that merger happen?
2019, I think, is when we closed. But so we transitioned to Awardco at the end of 2019 and really opened it up to enterprise-wide 2020. Our L3 side of things were very decentralized. Everything was very local. It was very, here's a gift card on your lunch break. But then we did have the Harris side. It was a little bit smaller than L3, but they did use a similar program. Not similar. Awardco is very different, but you know what I mean. We had a centralized recognition program that was very catalog-based, and that was really the drive to go to Awardco, was the employee experience that you guys could offer us.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. And Carrie, how long has your organization been with Awardco, and what was your experience like?
We went live on April 1st. We had been with our previous vendor for 25 years. The straw that broke the camel's back was the $50 gift card for Japan that cost $150 to ship to Japan. So we really were doing this for 100% cost savings reasons. We had identified that we could save around $800,000. That has been totally realized and saved, but the biggest benefit is we are globally in 45 different countries, and with our previous vendor, every item was a US-based company, product, etc., that was shipped to their country. The fact that our associates are able to get products that they want in their local geography is huge and has been a huge selling point for us.
That's incredible. $150 to send a $50 gift card? That's incredible. We've been talking about this at Awardco for a little while, but recognition, we've been talking a lot about ROI in this organization or in this experience here, about the ROI of recognition and how you can get the data, and that's very, very important. We want to make sure that everybody knows that, but recognition at its heart is about people, right? It's about improving the lives of your employees and the lives of your customers, and about improving just the experience. And now that can be very fluffy, right? You can't often take that to a leader and say, this is what we want. And the leader might agree with it, but they need something a little bit more. So we're talking about getting leadership buy-in. I was speaking with Penn Entertainment. Where are my Penn people at? Yeah, right there. Yeah, just one for now. Earlier this morning about getting that leadership buy-in. Have the four of you experienced any difficulties either getting leadership buy-in from the top down, or even, as we spoke about in the previous panel, manager buy-in to like get this across the line? Carrie, what about yourself? Any trouble with getting leadership buy-in?
I would say yes. We had a kind of plug and play. We took what we had in our old vendor, put it into the new vendor. So we are a huge culture of recognition. We do it because of engagement, but I don't know if it's almost like it's expected of us. So I don't know. We don't have to buy in very much because, hey, X dollars can be spent on recognition. As long as you keep doing that, we're good to go. But there has been some more excitement. Like we have added in award codes, which is a new program for this year, because we are trying to get we have a large hourly operations workforce that doesn't have access to computers. So we've started handing them award codes that they can use, scan on their phone, log it in, and that has been, it's very new, but it's also going to be, it's big from the little we've heard so far of on that spot. It's really exciting.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you. I'd love to ask all four of you, as you're talking to your leaders, what are some of the ways, like if you can't get that level of leadership buy-in, what are some of the ways you would suggest to get that?
Yeah, so there's kind of, I'm thankful because I think that the L3 Harris culture does recognize that recognition is important from the leadership level. Yeah. I think there's disagreement on the best way to do so, which is kind of the gap that we're experiencing. And one of kind of our struggles now is with our limited budget. And so we're really trying to leverage other ways to, increase recognition throughout the organization and kind of show how it's important to our leadership team. For example, so we took a look at our non-monetary recognition and have seen about 70% of our employee population recognized, which is great. Yeah. But only about, I think it was like closer to, how much was it? It was like 5,500 employees were actually recognizing out of 50,000, which is not great, right? So we're seeing a very engaged population. And so we're trying to take that data to our leadership and say, hey, let's try and engage other populations using non-monetary automated programs to make people aware of the platform and how easy it is to navigate and use, and hopefully just kind of trigger people to go into the platform and realize, oh, I can just send a quick boost award.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing that. Now, shifting gears here a little bit, I would love to hear some of the unique ways that you have seen Awardco used in your platform. They don't have to be like crazy unique, but I just want to know, what are some ways that you're using it?
We have two long-running programs that are always on. So one is like ad hoc recognition, as we said, employees get a certain amount of points per quarter. The other one is awards. So we have an internal award system. The nominations are done through Awardco, and then the winners are picked. In a committee.
Is Employee of the Month or
kind of? They're more specific. Yeah, we have various ones that are for specific things. So we use tags actually to differentiate them. So people go into the program and write up why they're nominating the person, pick the appropriate tag for the award they're nominating and doing this. We've also recently implemented a self-nomination mechanic through the Earn programs, in fact, for these same awards. So these are the long-standing ones, and then we do a lot of kind of more ad hoc things when interesting things come up. So for example, now it's Q4. So we've implemented this in a customer engineering, customer success organization. So it's kind of close strong, kind of drive customer satisfaction, etc. So we're running a contest, right? It's like a CSAT contest for our employees, and we're awarding that out through Awardco. And we've also done other little like ad hoc programs like this, but we're always looking for new fun ways. But I think you have the more interesting stuff.
For hospitals or companies that have clients, we share patient experience comments, de-identified obviously to comply with HIPAA, but that's one of the first times that we've been able to share comments that came in from families actually back to the provider, and they're very meaningful, like you saved my child's life, and they never got to see that, which is sad. Other things that we've done, focusing like patient experience in the hospital sector is obviously another really big topic right now. So we have 2 other separate hospital experience programs besides just the patient experience. One is directed by our marketing team, and they look at Google reviews, and then they recognize everyone who got a 5-star Google review every week, and then they once a quarter give out a winner to one provider with the most impactful Google review, and then they go to that clinic or that department and they give them treats. So that's one way that marketing has tried to enhance patient experience. Another way is our emergency department in particular. Their medical director reviews any comment that comes in through the emergency department and does a similar thing where they give out points once a quarter to one of the physicians or advanced practice providers that created an exceptional emergency department experience. So those are some ways that different areas have taken it. We've also done some fun things like our PICU did a March Madness challenge, so they had brackets, and then whoever won March Madness, they got points every week based on their brackets. That was a fun way. Stole an idea from Awardco. We had a Spirit Week on our 75th anniversary, so we had a theme for recognition every day, and it was recognize someone who saves the day, recognize someone who makes an impact. So lots of different kind of fun applications, and I love to see what our team members come up with. And every time Awardco's been able to help us deliver on these new ideas, which is fun.
Abby, what about yourself? What are some of the ways that you use Awardco?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that L3 Harris is on the forefront of the recognition space, but a couple things that we've done that I think are kind of unique is that we have brought in-house our ERG programs, our Employee Resource Group programs, as well as a corporate, we call it our corporate launch program because we have a launch program, which is our points-based program. And so we house those within Rise, our platform, and it allows so much customizability that we have been able to utilize it throughout the organization. So whether we wanted to do Engineering Week, or we've done Employee Appreciation Week, or things like that, we've done different initiatives through the program because it's so customizable. And then our ERGs, we have an ERG council where they do different raffles and different events that they may do something off-site, and they, can recognize through the platform, and then the leadership, the chair from that specific ERG announces those leaders and those winners, I should say.
That's really great. Yeah. Carrie, what about yourself?
We have 5 standard programs, our service anniversaries for the milestone years. We do have a huge e-card thank you program, so it has no points attached to it. It's probably one of our biggest utilizers, and it's absolutely free. So that is a huge win for us. The other thing, we just put in a nomination program called the Mission Star, which is allowing associates throughout the organization to either nominate someone or nominate themselves and give an example of how they have met one of our life realizing potential star awards, and it gets shared with the organization on a quarterly basis.
As we wrap up ACQ4, I want to leave you with a thought. This past quarter, my son started working at Awardco, and he asked me for some advice on his first day. I kept my advice real simple, something he can remember for the rest of his life and apply to any situation. I told him, if you want to be seen, recognize. People notice when you say good things about another, and the more you do it, the more people want to be around you. All our recognitions are posted on Awardco's application, Slack channels, and TV screens. Literally, if you recognize, it will be seen, and it will inspire others to do the same. No matter who we are, we all have something to add. I strongly believe in that, and I believe as we focus on recognizing the good in everything we do and make time for it, we'll make the world and work a better place. Thank you.